Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today we are covering more reactions coming from the recent early screenings and premiere of a certain movie, this one being Joker Folie 𝙭, or just Joker 2. And obviously, if you are new here and you like this type of content, please feel free, hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell. It helps out the channel a ton. We do these pretty much for like any big release coming up, kind of to help keep that anticipation going. But these are going to be interesting because we've got a collection of a lot here in varying different reactions. So without further ado, I'm not even going to waste any time. We're going to get straight into these. The first quick review we have comes from Variety, saying the premise of Joker Folie 𝙭 is an audacious concept. It's one that demands an audacious execution, and for the most part, that doesn't happen in the film. I'm curious to see what that means more specifically. That's very vague, but obviously, it seems like whoever watched Joker and made that review wasn't too happy. This next one though comes from Ren Geekness, saying Joker Folie 𝙭 is perhaps too ambitious for its own good, but it crafts a more inspired identity for its gritty world and mind of Arthur Fleck. The result is an insane, colorfully dark, and unpredictable genre blend that at least captures the truism and essence of the Joker. So a lot more positive there, also more descriptive, but another one saying that it might have been too ambitious, maybe bit off a bit more that it can chew. But off the bat we got one that's kind of skewing negative and another one skewing positive. So far we're kind of balanced out. But that's not surprising. The first film was incredibly polarizing, but ended up garnering kind of this cult following over the weeks as more people began experiencing the movie and talking about it, and it just built to a level where the people that loved it ended up really loving it, and the people that hated it ended up really hating it. It's one of those movies where you walk out and you kind of don't know which side you're going to, and it sounds like so far this might be another case of that. But we're gonna go ahead and move on, cover these reviews coming over from the guys at the Movie Podcast. Love their channel, love what they do. Go ahead and show them support if you haven't. But this one comes from Daniel Baptista, saying Joker 2 is hands down one of the most gorgeous looking films of the year, and another stunning showcase of Joaquin Phoenix's haunting, twisted performance. While the movie feels a bit long and the music doesn't always hit the mark, it's still a well-made, solid sequel. Moving on, the next one comes from Anthony over at the Movie Podcast, saying Joker 2 is a riveting sequel, beautifully shot and beautifully acted. Despite its flaws, the question of who truly is the clown prince of crime ultimately pays off, thanks in part to Phoenix's and Gaga's performance and musical numbers. The last one coming from Shabazz, saying Joker 2 is visually stunning and Joaquin Phoenix delivers another gripping performance as Arthur Fleck. However, the musical elements linger too long and Harley Quinn feels somewhat unnecessary to the story. A beautiful film, but it doesn't fully stick the landing. That's kind of unfortunate to hear. It seems like this movie on a technical level is going to be really great, from obviously some of the music to obviously the look of the movie and performances. But it seems like narratively it might be dropping the ball a little bit, whereas the first movie, it was kind of this commentary slash meta-ness that a lot of people kind of resonated with. Even if they didn't, there was kind of a shock factor with that first movie that we kind of all weren't prepared for. While it sounds like this one might not be quite on that level when it comes to the paper, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. This is a big one coming from Austin Burke. Great channel, by the way. Go ahead and subscribe to him. He does like pretty much a lot of the stuff that we do. He says making Joker 2 a musical initially felt like a bold decision. Unfortunately, it just doesn't feel like the right decision. Certain numbers are better than others, and the idea of why this is happening makes sense. but it begins to feel repetitive and unnecessary as we progress through this sequel that feels more like an extended epilogue. Lady Gaga has an incredible voice, but her version of Harley needed more fleshing out. Joaquin is fantastic, and the visuals are just as astounding as the first. This just isn't a story that needed to be told, as it doesn't have the depth or impact of the first. It doesn't ruin the previous film, but it has way less to offer. Some of these choices are interesting, while others are just baffling. It swings for the fences on occasion, but I wanted to feel so much more walking out. Huge mixed bag there. Obviously didn't meet expectations. I guess that's the good thing about seeing these reactions, is it helps us level our mind. While we do get so excited for these movies, and rightfully so, they're huge movies, it's always nice to remind ourselves that, at the end of the day, not every single thing releasing every single week is going to be a Dune Part 2, a Empire Strikes Back, a something like that. Not every single movie. And so I think it's reactions like this that are kind of good in a way. It helps us kind of bring our expectations, temper them. Yeah, it seems like Austin wasn't too high on Joker 2, and it didn't really fulfill kind of the expectations he had. But the next one we have comes from Wonder Meg, saying, Joker 2 was a mixed bag for me. I was fully immersed in the musical numbers and the relationship between Joker and Lee. The film's visuals and score were so well crafted, especially during musical moments. Retreads the same themes and messaging as the first film. At times feels like a waste of a sequel, and the ending left me feeling cuckoo. Wow, I really wonder what they're talking about. There were like leaks going around regarding the ending. Obviously, I'm not gonna spoil here, but if those leaks are true, I mean, that is, if that ending is true, that ending could be extremely controversial, extremely polarizing. And I'm curious to see how more people react once the film kind of gets an official release. The next one comes from Dwayne Miller, saying, I thought Joker 2 was quite bad. A bland musical, an uninspired story, a wasted Lee Quinn, and a very mediocre plot. As someone who loved the first one, they clearly had no clue what to do with the sequel. Disappointed. Another disappointed one. Sucks to hear, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to some more. This one coming from Critical Overload, saying Joker 2 manages to be a technically strong film, but offers a lackluster and inferior narrative. It's gorgeously shot with great camera work throughout. However, the musical numbers hold it back from being a serviceable sequel, always feeling random and disconnected. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are delivering tremendous performances for a story that doesn't deserve it. Wow, that's big, because obviously, we expect Joaquin to step back in the shoes and deliver. Joaquin is just a phenomenal performer. And Lady Gaga also being cast in here, you're going to expect those musical elements to be in the movie and her to kind of help carry that. And it seems like as far as this movie goes, that's pretty much the extent of the humongous takeaways. But let's see what other people have to say. This one coming from Andrew Markovitz, saying Joker 2 features two outstanding performances from Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga in a new take on the Joker-Harley dynamic, along with dazzling production design. Some story elements feel half-baked, as does the ending, but I was entertained nevertheless. So that was a positive one. Great to hear that obviously Phoenix and Gaga getting their flowers again, and them acknowledging the production design. I'm glad they did that, because throughout the trailers, I mean, it just looked phenomenal. The sets and kind of the set pieces and the musical numbers that they were doing, very cool. And I'm glad that they appreciated that. This next one though comes from Sean Chandler, great YouTuber, but he said Joker 2 feels like an extended epilogue to the first without anything to say. It has a certain mesmerizing quality. The visuals are striking, the performances captivating, and the choices so bold they grab your attention. Doesn't justify its existence, but it swings for the fences. Another one, really complimenting the visuals and the technicality of the movie, but just not being there on a narrative level to kind of feel like a necessary next step. but rather maybe a cash grab type of thing. But we're gonna cover a couple more and then wrap up this video. This one comes from Tyler Calvert saying, Joker 2 takes many creative swings that you'll either love or hate. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga both are fantastic, and the musical aspect mostly is fun how it weaves into the film, but narratively the film is chaotic, really echoing just the technical aspects and Gaga and Phoenix, but how, you know, it's really dropping the ball on a story that kind of connects to the audience in some sort of way or leaves an impact. But we're going to cover about 3 more and really wrap this thing up. This one coming from Max Rudley saying, Joker 2 was somewhat of a good sequel, really reflects on Arthur Fleck's character arc, and throughout the whole thing I enjoyed my time. The musical sequences were pulled off well, and Gaga as Harley Quinn was a great addition, and bring on the madness. So that was one that was obviously a lot more positive, and overall, you know, I don't think this movie's going to be like the worst thing ever, but it's seeming to have that polarizing aspect that the first did, but maybe just without the shock value that that first one had. This next one comes from Jeremy Kasiva. Hopefully I'm not butchering that, but they said, I didn't have high expectations as it was being assumed as a musical, but after seeing it tonight, Joker 2 is still very much a Joker movie. The music actually makes it more entertaining than the first. I still stand on this being the best film for October, so they seem to love it. I don't know about that last statement though, because Honora comes out in October, and cannot wait to see that. But we're gonna cover one more. This one coming from Courtney Howard saying, guess the joke's on us this time. Joker Folie is aesthetically pleasing, but that's juxtaposed against a nasty, mean-spirit mistaking itself as rebellious. Appreciate a deconstructed musical, but it's undercooked and boring as sin. Lady Gaga is great, but underutilized. Oof, that was really kind of leaning a lot on the negative side than I was anticipating. But if I do find more, which I'll probably do because they are coming out at the moment, I'll put them on the screen right now. You can pause the video if you want to look at them. Hopefully there's a lot more positive ones in there, and you know, stuff that's new. But it seems like, you know, the big thing people are echoing is just how great on a technical level this movie is. The production design, you know, some of the music, and obviously the visuals and the performances. But it seems like they really dropped the ball on giving us a story that feels necessary, that feels not like they made this because the first made $1 billion, which I was pretty apprehensive about. But obviously I can go in and feel completely, you know, opposite to them and absolutely love the story that they're trying to tell and tackling in this movie. Only time will tell. I will obviously put out a review as soon as I get a chance to watch the film. But you guys place your comments below on what you guys thought about these reviews, these first reactions, and how excited are you for Joker 2? What did you think about the first one? Anything related to this? I would love to hear your thoughts, and I love discussing with you guys. And if you made it this far, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing, and clicking that bell. It just helps out the channel a ton, gets us recommended to people that watch this type of content. And yeah, it would be greatly appreciated, costs nothing. And other than that, guys, it's been 𝙋𝙀🎑, and hopefully I see you all in the next one.